Travis here with Hold My Beer, Mowers Gone Wild. How's it going, everyone? I wanted to take a little video. I wanted to do an introduction, or more or less some of the statuses that we've done on the Predator. I know I've had a couple build videos of just kind of going over what I've done. Well, it's needs some modification. So anyone that's been following this or wanting to do something kind of like this, I hope that this would actually help. So the main thing and objective in this, I want you to be able to see how to beef up an LT1000, or more or less probably almost any Craftsman front end. So I'll kind of dig in a little bit more in that, what I did, what was there, and hopefully I'll be able to show you actually exactly how it works. And we're going to put it to the test later, and we'll be able to make sure it holds up. So let's see how it goes. All right, what we got here is the stock LT1000 front end. I now have a cast iron one. I do not have the part number offhand. I will make sure I put it in the details and comments below of this video so you know exactly what I used. I still get a little bit of movement. Honestly, I want next to none, so that's perfect for me. That gives me just a little bit of play. I actually had to change the tie rod. I broke that almost immediately before any other issues. Went to try to go over a jump in one of the videos actually, and the whole thing shot up and went right up into here. Couldn't turn. Both wheels were towed out. Did not work at all. So piece of re-rod, welded on a good one. It's great. I haven't had one issue. It ain't going nowhere. The cast iron's just better than the stamped. This has the 22 horse Predator motor on it, so obviously it causes a lot more weight on that front end now. It actually bent one of my spindles when I ran this pretty hard the other day. So with that, we actually welded in some pieces on the spindles. So I got another new set of them, and we welded in, as you can see, some braces to help hold them. So we now have some new tires on this since the last time you have seen it. I now have just a different type of pattern. It seems to turn a lot better, a little bit more narrow, a little smaller than I'd actually like, but honestly it's working really well. It steers well. When this thing hooks, it hooks now. First time it's only been built since January that this thing actually has ran in any sort of dirt or mud, and it's been a beast. It's actually been such a beast, I twisted the rear frame since the last video. Obviously the front end got damaged, so we've had quite a bit of instances that's not been the greatest, so that's been fun. So since then we have actually beefed up the rear, did angle iron down the entire side on both sides, going almost all the way to the front. I think if I remember it's like 34 inches from here all the way to the front. Made a little brace here as well. Matt helped me big time with that. I cut it all, got it all ready, bolted it, and then he came in and welded it for me. So that's great. We now have a really nice chain guard on here. We took an old pulley, cut it in half, keep the chain on. That's been working awesome. We kept throwing the chain because this was twisted in and I didn't know that, obviously causing the sprocket to be not aligned properly. Come to find out the motor was even a little crooked, so I had a lot going on. That in the ice I just didn't get the traction and didn't throw it near as much, but now it is doing a lot better. Everything is holding up. I've got about 2 official laps in on this thing since this, and it's never hooked and ran as good as it has. Can't really tell, but it is actually lowered now in the rear. When we did the angle iron, we took the old brackets off, which actually dropped it almost 3 inches here in the rear. Gives it a little different stance. For what we do, honestly, I like it a little more height, but at the same time, it keeps it lower, it makes it less tipsy, and that just hasn't been an issue with this thing. So again, I'm hoping to get some videos later on today that we can get this thing actually out and running. You can see what it does, you can see how everything's working on it, and we can go from there. So also that we'll end up seeing is I'm going to end up changing up the brakes. So right now I do have a brake return, so when I push in the pedal it actually returns the brake. I'm using the old clutch pedal. So if we look around here, you can see the chain, how everything's running up. That is on a slide, so that's slotted so that I can go back and forth. The washer is just to protect this from actually coming off and losing it. I actually lost one of these, so this is just to prevent, if this actually comes off the bearing, that I don't lose the sprocket and I can push it back on and be back in business. But I haven't had that now that everything's been back up and aligned. We're actually going to be getting rid of the disc. I just cannot get this to actually function properly. I keep killing brake pads. So I'm going to actually get rid of this, and then I'll show you in a second what I'm going to be going to, and hopefully that'll work a lot better, because I've been very disappointed on trying to get brakes working on this thing. So, but that's kind of what we're dealing with underneath. I've been really happy with it. It's a lot simpler. I love the idea of the chain guard that Matt helped me create, and that's been working really good. Other than that, here you can kind of see the front end a little bit more. You see the bolts that I end up using. Had to really tighten it down on the green one to get that to smush in, to get this to actually sit in on both sides, to make sure that front end doesn't wiggle around. So I, again, am pretty impressed with what's going on. The parts I've used, it's not exact stock or easy. There's a lot of modifications that have been made, but it's working great. I actually took the old muffler shield and inputted it on this, on the hood, and that actually helps keep any of the mud and everything out of the fan, and it still does allow the fan still to breathe. There's actually still a hole here on the bottom. I don't want to restrict that too much. I don't ever plan on running this for a very long time, especially with that on there. So if I'm going to go on any sort of long trail riding or anything, I'll make sure I unbolt that, unless it's going to be muddy, and we'll just have to figure that out from there. So again, that is the Predator LT1000 Overhaul. It's coming along. It's been running really good, and again, I'm hoping to have some footage that I can place in here of it running later today with the whole new front setup and the chain setup, and hopefully we're not going to be disappointed and see it break down. So we'll catch up with you guys later. So that's it on the LT1000, just kind of the overhaul of what I did to the front end. I know obviously I didn't show exactly the videos of how I did it, and everything is pretty frustrating, but mostly just bolt up. Honestly, just trying to take the grease caps off on the top and get the clips off was probably the hardest thing of it all. Everything else, I just started putting bolts together and fabricating it as I went, so it wasn't so bad. Honestly, I'm in love with this tractor. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna get Tater Tot out later today too. Do a test run and a speed run. I haven't really got to do that since I've changed the gear ratio and everything on it. So maybe we can get a quick little video of that one as well to be able to put up so you guys can watch the progress on that. There's been just tons of customization before we ever started the channel for that. So try to go in a little bit more detail eventually on that one as well, if you guys are interested. That's the LT1000. That one actually is more of a traditional mower compared to this. But yeah, so again, like, share, subscribe. I'm Travis, Mowers Gone Wild, and